Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm your host, Paul Howard Flowers Jr., and this is the Potpourri Place Podcast Show. On this segment of the Everyday Entrepreneur, we are welcoming in all the way across the pond none other than Grace Najean. And I pronounce the name specifically Najean to pay heritage to, again, her marriage, which is to a gentleman of French descent. We're going to bring together all sorts of things to get today on this episode. So I'm really excited to have Grace on the show. Grace, if you would, say hello to the audience and welcome.
Oh, Paul, thank you so much for your introduction. And I'm so honored to be here and then sharing my experiences with your listeners. Yeah. And hopefully, I can bring some value in their lives and then in their heart and soul.
Absolutely. And you brought, of course, the key word as the founder of the Soulfluence. We want to really dive into it's my usual question. How we get started is how you came to be where you are today and some of where you've been. And then we'll organically grow the conversation from there.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Korea, Seoul, capital city. And I was a professional pianist for 15 years. So I started at age of 4 and then practiced 3 to 6 hours every day. Every day. So that was all my childhood. And I went to Paris to, continue piano at the beginning in a conservatory. But then my dad had a brain stroke. So he was paralyzed for 7 years, unfortunately. So at the time, financially, because at that moment, 50 years ago, they didn't have any health insurance in Korea. So
Mhm.
he had to put, all his cash, in his business cashes and all that. Anyway, so that allowed me to change my life, a new life. So I learned French and in Sorbonne University in Paris for 3 years. And that allowed me to apply in business school. So I studied business and I became a businesswoman. Since then, I was in sales manager, sales director, and strategic partnership marketing manager in large, international corporate in Paris. So kind of, it's a blessed, I'm blessed to have that opportunity of having new life.
Mhm.
And when our daughter was born in 2003, that's where, we started to have some another space, place to live, have a more better quality of life, life balance. So we decided to move into Australia, and that was 2007. And my husband is French, as you mentioned, and he applied permanent visa, and then we moved into Australia. That's where I started my coaching journey. Because simply I didn't want to go back to corporate world, and I wanted to do something more meaningful in my life. So I studied coaching for 2 years, but guess what? After 2 years, I had a feeling I could coach everyone, but anyone. That's how I felt.
Mhm.
So I went to see Tony Robbins event because he used to come twice a year in Australia.
Mhm.
So it was September 2012, and I went to see him, and that was a really the moment of how can I say light, in my life. So it all changed my life. So um as a Korean and a French, we are not used to that culture of
I can
changing
imagine.
life and then let's go, yeah. So eye opening. So I did 4 events of him in 5 months. I did only his event for 5 months and changing my life, my health, my relationship, and all that. And after that, I became a coach. So I started a coaching practice. And 6 months later, I was invited to become Tony Robbins coach. So I
Huh.
worked for him for 8 years. So I ended up like a master and a platinum coach, top of his clients for last 3, 4 years. 2021, I left Tony because my daughter is tennis player, and then I wanted to support her, pursuing her dream. So we traveled around the world. She did the tennis tournaments, international tournaments, training, and then all that. And then finally, last year, she got into college tennis. So she's studying in US, and I'm back to Perth in Australia. Perth is in Western Australia, opposite of Sydney, if you know. So I'm back now, and then I'm into my core business and doing business development and how I can serve even better my clients and the world. So that's what I'm doing now.
I love it. Talk about a story of growth and transition, not just as a person in terms of mentally, but physically. You've had to adapt to, I'll call it various cultures, definitely various climates, and all that through multiple countries. So we're going from Korea to France, excuse me, and then to Australia. Let's talk about the ability to cope with change, right? As we know, when it comes to life, we're all going to grow. We're all going to go through things or grow through things, as I like to say. But you personally, how were you able to deal with such the dramatic differences in culture shifts from one country to another?
Yes. I think first of all from Korea to France because I was young. You know, when you're 19, you do everything, and then you don't realize it's like, oh, it's gonna be difficult, or I think then I don't
Mm-hmm.
speak French. You don't have that much limiting beliefs, right?
Mm,
So it was easy for me to go there, and then I thought it was a life, and then you do it, and then yeah, and I'm extremely lucky because even though they put like a 15 years of investment into my piano, when I said, mom, I think I'm gonna stop piano and then do something else, she was like, oh, okay, that's your
mm.
choice, do it. So that was a blessing because she could say, why, how can you do this, don't give up, so I had that support, and then that gave me really confidence to make my own decisions, right? So that's one. Other thing is, I also say I never consider myself different than others.
Mm.
So I never consider myself, I'm a woman, so I'm different. I'm Asian, so I'm different. Or I'm mom, so I'm different. Or, so I didn't give myself that limitation
Okay.
um, in a sense. And I'm huge fan of a learner. Growth is really one of my top values and my strengths as well. So wherever I can go, my attitude is I become like a 6 years old. So
Huh.
I remove everything I've learned and I become 6 years old and I open myself and then I learn everything I can. And then after that, I analyze the things and I go through all the things and then I keep what is important for me and then let go what is not important.
I like that. Now, let's touch on a few things there because again, you gave a lot of points of your life that I believe who we've been can to a degree shape who we are. But I like the way that you said when you go to a new place, you approach it as a 6 year old, right? You kind of get rid of all the stuff and you open up brand new to say, hey, what's here for me today? What's here? Where's this opportunity come from? And what can I do with it? Right. The analytical piece is also very important because you take time to reflect. Now, to the audience out there that's listening, it can be tough to uh, get rid of the stuff. And I acknowledge
Mm.
that and recognize that. Now, Grace, having gone through a substantial amount of training and those that you've coached over the years, especially working with Tony Robbins, and we'll have some questions about the big guy too. Tell me, how can a person begin to get rid of some of the stuff that they have so that they can even realize that opportunities are present?
Mm. Of course. I think the first of all, for me, anyway, everything I share today is my own experience. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
it's right, it's wrong. I don't know, but that's how I became today who I am. So I think my life was, as you mentioned, I experienced lots of things, cultures, and different professions and all that. But when I did the Tony Robbins, the one puzzle in my life, the missing puzzle, was myself,
Hmm.
self-awareness. So I found out I was living in a expectation of the world, the society, my parents, my uh,
Okay.
whatever, yeah. And that was a aha moment, really. I'm high achiever, and success was my driving force all my life. Yeah,
Hmm.
as a pianist, especially high performers, right? Um, but was I doing it for myself? I'm not sure. To the point, I realized, oh no, it was not. I did all for my mainly for my parents. So for instance, if I may share,
Absolutely.
one of his event, so that was a date with Destiny 2013 in May. I remember that moment. He said, write down all your values in your life. What are the most important values? So we wrote down 1 to 10 values, something like that. And my top value was a success. Of course, yes. I was like, yes, success. And then he asked, what is the rule you meet your value? What do you do and why you do it? And I started to write down and was to make proud my parents.
Mm.
The 2013, my parents died 1997. So it means for 15 years, almost 15 years, I was chasing success, having more, doing more for my parents who died, who
Who
were
weren't even
even not
there.
there.
Wow.
And that was my light moment. I was like, Grace, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know? So from that moment, I decided to live my own life and having my own voice and discovering myself. So the event name was Day with Destiny, and
Hmm.
really that was Day with my destiny and with myself. And that started all from there. And I've been doing this for over decades now, 12 years, 13 years now. So coaching is not really for other people. It's really about my discovery and becoming who I am and connecting with the true myself. That was a whole my journey.
Okay. Well, you brought up the big guy, so let's talk about that for a little bit. Earlier, you'd mentioned that from the cultures that you'd originated, being in Korean and Australian, that it wasn't really a part of the culture to have that big boisterous voice, right? We know Tony Robbins, a big guy, a lot of energy, make you move, right, type of thing, and that wasn't really a part of the culture. So for you, you've had to essentially grow and adapt and be able to express more. Not to say that you're out there like yelling from the top of the stage, getting everybody to pump their fist and things like that. As again, I'm a fellow firewalker, so I've taken that journey across the coals that unleash the power within. So I love it, and again, I'm for the events. And for you personally, how has that experience then going through either the coaching yourself from him and or beginning to coach others as a part of his organization? How has that transformed how you are able to openly express who and how you are today?
Yeah. So, first of all, I think because as I was a pianist, I loved that expression of myself,
Right,
but I was
right.
holding me back during that corporate world because I tried to become somebody who wasn't really not.
Mm,
I pretended I was a businesswoman. I'm tough. I can make a decision. We have that misconception of, good business person is a alpha male type, making
right.
decision, loud voice, and then all these things. Yeah, you need to be brave and make decision. So I think I tried to do that, for 10 years in Paris, right?
Hmm.
So therefore I developed that sense of like extrovert and let's go and then leadership and then all that. So it was a kind of I enjoyed that environment straight, even though my culture was Korean and then French. So and again I told you, I did a 2 years of coaching studies. So I could see really the behind the scene what he was trying to do doing so. It was
Mm.
not doing just following what he was telling you, but I in my mind, oh wow, he's doing this, he's doing for that reason. I could see really the reason behind it, and then that was fascinating. Seriously, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, of course, it makes a difference when you have some type of practical knowledge. I'll call it the traditional educational route, as you mentioned, going to school, not just for the business side, but also for the coaching, which is, again, in turn, it's your own business. So, let's talk about your own coaching and the strategies that you use at present. I know this said that you recently also put out an article on how to serve yourself before others. Now, I bring that one up specifically because in this society, and I'll speak on American society, but I'm certain that as I've had these conversations with people internationally, that many of the same things show up for them. When I see a title like How to Serve Yourself Before You Serve Others, the immediate subconscious brings to mind the term, oh, don't be selfish, right? You're so selfish, right? I hear that again in the society here, and I'm certain that it happens in other cultures and other countries on other continents. So in the vein of being able to master oneself and take yourself to the next level, how do you balance, or how would you instruct, I should say, a person to balance that feeling of, well, if I do something for me, aren't I just being selfish? Right? How do you work through that?
Mhm. Right. So that was a whole my journey, lasted 12 years. So name it. So I was so in parallel of Tony Robbins, I did a lots of different things. And including spiritual work and meditation. So I was a part of
Right.
Indian, spiritual group one stage, and then after that, twice vipassana meditation and TM meditation, name it. So all the spiritual work I went through as well, and also yoga and then qigong and all the all this
Okay.
body work and Tony Robbins. Last 3 years, I'm heavily involved with the Dr. Dispenza. So I did all
Dr. Joe
his
Dispenza.
retreat.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, he's an amazing person. So I'm doing his work. Still I did all his retreats, and then and I do meditation since 2nd of August 2021. I haven't missed maybe 4 or 5 times. Uh, that's it for a whole 3 years. I do every day.
Love it.
So all together, because I've been doing that for decades, some few things coming up. I'm like, what is it? And then what made me to be here today? What helped me? You know what? I realized it's not only one thing. It's not only Tony Robbins. It's not only meditation. It's not only Dr. Dispenza. Every single thing I learned really supported me. And it comes down to body, mind, and soul. So I call it as a vessel, your compass, and your light. So all comes from your body, of course. If you don't have a body energy, and when I say body, it's not only fitness level, yeah, it's your energy center, yeah. So developing the energy center and opening that, how can I say, no, aligning that energy center with your own voice, and after that, that mind and heart, the bridging the mind, the heart together, alignment, and of course, once you got that, and you can tap it into that, what you call nowadays a quantum field, yeah. So
Okay.
manifestations, energy field and a frequency, and then how can I say, for me that's like a magic, because it's where
Hmm.
you can do the things easily in flow without magic.
Ooh. You see that you say so much of value, and then you do the mic drop at the end using a word like magic. That's lighting me up. You can't see it, right? Because I'm just, I don't blush too much, right? But I recently had on a guest who also very specifically used the word magic. And
Mhm.
this is really interesting to have this happen twice in really 24 hours. So let's talk about that. When you say magic, again, because our listeners are going to come from all across the globe and all different belief levels, those that are very faith driven, that you say the M word and they're like automatically cut it off. It doesn't go with my Lord and Savior, mentality. And then those that may be believers of various faiths, from Christians to Hinduism to Buddhism, and that they can understand that more exists than what they may have been taught.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
magic. If you would, for the listeners, define what you mean by magic. And if you could provide some insight on how a person can invite magic into their lives.
Mm. Sure. So I was born as a Catholic, and my grandfather is almost a pioneer of bringing Catholic into Korea. So I'm totally Catholic and in Christianism, and I was baptized as a Grazia. That's why my name is Grace.
Okay.
Um, but because of my background, I also respect the Buddhism. So I go to temples, I pray to Buddhas, and I do temple stays and all that. And I also did the Indian, spiritual work. And what
Beautiful.
I realize is, I think there is only one God.
Mm,
That's what I believe. It can be God, or it can be universal, whatever, what you believe is your God. But anyway, Out of that, the religious theme, for me, the soul is really true yourself. It's not religious connotation, really.
Gotcha.
Again,
Absolutely.
that's the depths of self-awareness, who you really are, truly are, and what is the purpose of you being here, and what is most important thing in your life.
Hmm.
Um, so my job is almost not, I don't change people. It's not changing someone. It's really deconditioning the conditioning we've been through, since young age. It's nobody's fault. How it is nowadays, the society, right?
Right.
The education, school system, whatever, then we go to uni and then a job and all this conditioning. You should do that way. You must do that way. You should be this one. This is a success. This is a good. This is bad. All this conditioning you've been through.
Right.
So I think we are all born to be leader of ourselves. We have all this capacity, given from God, or universe, and almost we lost that connection with ourselves during that conditioning. Yes, there are good things because we have a knowledge, we have intelligence, we have all these things to learn, but disconnected with this soul, right? So
Mhm.
my job is really peeling that onion layers and then bringing them back to who they are really so they can connect who they are. Magic happens when you connect with this soul
Mm.
because that's where the flow comes in. Because magic is a natural state of human being. We are magic. How on earth we are here, right? So we are going back to that natural state of magic. Magic is just the when the things happens how you expect it or how you um you know create. You are the creator of the true the reality, other than three word 3D word. So for instance, the little magics I have is like, um I have a back-to-back clients and I didn't have a time to eat, yeah, and I had to eat. Then bang, my clients say, I'm 10 minutes late. I'm 15 minutes late. Oh, I can cancel and let's do tomorrow. So I can eat, right? So that's a little thing. That people call me Madame Parking because everywhere I go, I have always a parking spot.
I love it.
So that's a little magic things. But again, if I need something really, really, I wished for, and then that happens, just that happens. But don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen like this because I did that all internal and work, and then knowing who I am and then connecting with my soul and aligned with that essence of who I am really. Then it start to manifest, really, into my reality.
I love it. I love it. Grace, you're bringing about so many, again, blends between what can be seen as the esoteric and ethereal, as well as the practical. So it's really good to hear this from, again, a varied perspective, so that for our listeners out there, they can realize that it doesn't necessarily matter if you come from one specific religious background or sect of Christianity or traditional belief based on your homeland and geography. You too can create, is what I'm gathering. You too have that magic within you. You do have to realize that there's a connection, though, is what I'm gathering from you, Grace. There's a connection that you have to have with your soul. And I'm assuming that you would think that or you would agree that would then you would have to align that with your purpose, right? Because one thing to be connected with your soul, another to realize that we have a purpose on this planet. So, how would you take a person from, and again, take as much time to as you'd like on this one, because this is a question that's got a little meat to it. Um, how would you take a person from not necessarily being connected to themselves, to their souls, to being able to realize their purpose and taking action on it?
Yeah, so that was a whole my journey to creating that so a program, I would say. So I was thinking, okay, where does that transformation start? For me anyway, it was a physical experience at Tony Robbins, yeah.
Mhm.
So if you don't have that physical body experience, you can also have, transformation, but it's a faster. if you have the body experience, because your body has a memories and a body experience, and it memorize it, right?
Right.
Easily. Uh, so I was like, how can I create that environment of transformation and body, and then opening that energies and working on that voice energy and frequency. So I created that retreat for 7 days retreat. So we work
Beautiful.
each day one center. So center one, energy center one, day two, energy center two, and it goes on. So 7 centers of energy. And I bring someone from New York. So she is a vocal transformation coach, Marin Azov. So I bring her, so she will work on really embracing your voice. Because as a leader, and it is so important owning your own voice and how you express it to the world. Yeah. So we specifically work on voice transformation, and I do that mindset and physical transformation in the afternoon. So that's 7 days magical in Lombok, Indonesia. Magical place, really. So we have only 46 rooms, all ocean view, and all that. Then after that, I was like, okay, people, I've been through so many seminars and event, and then I see people again and again and again. I'm like, what's going on here, right? And because what happens is you go to the event, and as you did Tony Robbins as well, this, you come back, you have a same home, the bed, same wife, same husband,
Right.
same
Right.
children, same car, same job, same people. And it's very hard to keep that transformation, even if you want to do it, right?
This is true. Absolutely.
So I was like, how can I support them? So idea was, okay, let's keep that group energy and hold the space as accountability bodies. So we meet 7 weeks later. Every week for 7 weeks, we meet as a group in Zoom, and we hold the place as the people who did the retreat. And after
Okay.
the 7 weeks, and then I do 7 months of individual coaching to integrate the transformation everyday life. So it has a steps. So that's my magical 777 program.
I love it. I love it. And that, again, in and of itself, I'll make sure that the audience has access to that retreat. Again, it'll be in the show notes because it is important to understand how to go through a process. Everything's not microwave, if you will. And I feel that a lot of times in, I'll call it the today's culture, we want things just like that, right? Quick, fast, in a hurry. So let's cater to it, if you will. If you were to sum up a short and, again, concise message, and I'm going to ask you to do something really unique because, again, I know that you come from a background being able to speak multiple languages. If you could give a message on how to get started, even to our listeners in English as well as French, and we'll throw one out there and say, could you deliver it in Korean as well? Just a quick message on, again, how someone can get started, maybe overcoming the limiting beliefs so that they can take action on fulfilling their purpose.
Sure. So most of my clients are, leaders, yeah, high achievers like me, and then all that. And then because they're extremely intelligent people, they know a lots of things. They want to know. They read a lots of books, they listen to podcasts, and then they do a lots of things, right? So they have the misconception of knowing thing is gonna change your life. It's not. You need to do it.
Mm,
So you know a lots of things, but you're not doing nothing. It's not gonna happen, for you at all. So I think in my past life, when I do seminars, I take one or two things and I do it. Only one or two things because there's so many, too many.
right,
I can't do
right.
everything. Yeah. So pick just one thing. So it can be like a breath work. It can be just a little meditation. If you're not familiar with that, just to, count down the numbers. Or something like that. Or do exercise every day, even 10 minutes every day, and increase that. So little things, it's so simple. People think it doesn't work because it's so simple. Yeah. So please, 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 let us pick one thing and then start one action every day. That's the most important thing.
Perfect. Now, could you give that same message to our listeners en français.
I will try in a short time. So, okay, bonjour, je suis Grace Najean. Mes clients, ils sont tellement, tellement intelligents. Ils sont très high performers. Ils sont high achievers. Donc, la seule chose que je puisse donner comme conseil ou de mon expérience, c'est de savoir faire n'est pas le pouvoir. Lire tous les livres et écouter tous les podcasts, aller tous les événements ne vont pas vous aider. Prenez une action tous les jours, de petites actions. Mais c'était tellement simple, on ne croit pas que ça marcherait. Mais c'est le seul moyen de changer votre vie et puis mener votre vie dans le prochaine étape.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to see if we can bring this back one more time now in Korean.
Yeah. I will try to do it. 안녕하세요. 제 이름은 이혜진. 불어르는 그라스 나정입니다. 저는 한 12년 동안 지금까지 코칭을 해 왔는데요. 모든 그 리더가 되시는 분들은 너무너무 어 배우는 걸 좋아하세요. 그래서 책도 너무 많이 읽으시고 이벤트도 가시고 폰트캐드도 드시고 모든 걸 많이 알고 싶어 하십니다. 그러나 알고 있는 지식은 인생을 바꿔줄 수가 없어요. 그래서 그 인생에서 조금이라도 더 발전하고 싶으시고 좀 변화를 주고 싶으시다면 작은 일이라도 한 가지만이라도 하루에 하나씩 조그만 그런 액션이라도 하십시오. 감사합니다.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, to our listeners out there, wherever you're listening to this, I'd just discovered this and really asked Grace to consider doing this. So we want to be amazingly grateful that she brought those talents, that life experience, and the ability to have a conversation to you all in the language best suited for you. That to me brings up, again, just one final question, and then we'll start to land the plane here, so to speak, is that when it comes to really expanding yourself, taking on, um, I won't say a lot because I don't want to quantify it for a person, but taking on new things, let's say, for you, again, learning different languages while traveling through literally the globe, right? There are going to be people that are at a beginning level in entrepreneurship and or at an executive level, and there's still more to come. There's still new things that they've yet to learn, experience to get themselves to that next level as far as high achievers. So from the brand new person to the high achiever, I'm certain that there are some similarities in there. How can that person, how would you advise that person to take on that new thing with courage, right? To take it on and not be afraid of it. Again, because whatever level you're at, there's a reason that you're at that level and you've been at that level for some time. So from the novice to the person that's looking for that next level as an executive, how can that person take on that new thing again bravely with confidence? How would you suggest?
Hmm. If I may, very simple way, it all starts from your decision. Who do you want to be in this life? You know? And you need to decide. You can just wait. One day I'm gonna be like that. One day, oh, Instagrams or Facebook. Oh, it looks good, and then looks, oh, they're doing more money, and then the title promotions, and yeah. But is that really, really what you want? Yeah. So it's combination of self-awareness and then and a decision to become who do you want. So for instance, my daughter plays tennis, right?
Right.
And one coach told me, you know how number one in the world or number 10 top 10 players become 10 pro? I was like, I don't know. Same answer. Decision. They decide I'm going to be number one in the world or number top 10 in the world.
Goodness. That and it's, forgive me, I don't want to say it like this to take away again from how impactful that was, but it seems so simple. It seems so simple. that all we need to do is decide. And when we do make that decision and we really embody that decision, to your point about magic earlier, that connection is there and things tend to just open up and magically appear, so to speak. So, for our listeners out there, make a decision, take a look at the show notes, learn more about Grace. And again, we're going to continue this conversation with just a few more questions, but I felt the urge to let you guys know, make a decision now, right? Connect with her, learn more about her again, because this is giving me goosebumps over here. Uh, so, Grace, just a couple more pointed questions, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. One is a question that I know may have an interesting answer, and I'd love to hear it. It's a question that I ask all of our guests, and it's very pointed, it's straightforward. I'm quite certain you know the answer. Um, why I ask this question is because often, as we are such professionals, right? We're business, we have these designations and all the letters after our names, et cetera. Like I'm guilty of it too. And oftentimes we don't necessarily connect at some of the deeper levels, if you will. So I had this theory, and it's been proven true for the most part, is that we only know the middle names of typically about 5 to 10 people. And those are like our parents, our children, our best friends, maybe some close cousins. So I asked this question so that we can share more about who we are, right? And share things that we ordinarily might not just have on an about me page. Grace, what's your middle name?
Haejin.
Now you're going to have to spell that one for me.
Haejein.
Heijin.
Haejin. That's my Korean name. So my Korean name is Haejin.
Okay.
And Grace is my Catholic name. I converted into English, Grace, and then I became Grace in France when I get French nationality. And
Okay.
then Najean is my husband's name, and Lee is my family name,
Beautiful.
maiden name.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And we go through these transitions, right? And our name, to me, again, it really defines a part of who we are. So thank you so much for sharing that. Was there any story behind your middle name? Did it come from a special person or place, or that's what the parents dropped on you and that was it?
Yeah, so just no. We use in Korea still Chinese characters, right?
Okay.
So it means the treasure. Um,
Beautiful. Well, again, you've definitely been a treasure here today for me personally. And I'm assuming this is going to reach, again, thousands, if not millions. But again, if it only touches one person, you've truly been that treasure for myself. And again, whoever that one person may be. If you would, Grace, for the last minute or two, I don't want to prompt or poke. I just want you to speak to the audience and whatever you're called to say to them, again, just deliver a message from you straight to the audience.
Yes, so my life has been a gift, though I didn't know in each step of my life, I didn't see because we are too small. We don't see what's behind, what the universe or God brings us for our lives. We are in the world of scarcity,
Mm.
comparison, com- competition, and disconnection. Any God in the world, their wish is for us to be a good man, good woman, and being connected with others. So that's what I do, what I'm doing. So are we doing as a good man or as a good woman every day for us and for others? I think we forget really because of the stress, right, of lives. Because that stress hormone will give you the survival mode. And that makes you really focus on you because
Mm.
that's a protection your brain does, right? So we tend to really focus on us, really, as you mentioned, selfish or egocentric. So then the world doesn't exist and you are disconnected. Even your loving ones, your family, your friends. Yeah. So I think this is time really to connect with yourself and with others. You can't connect with others if you are not connected to yourself. I always say you can't give something you don't have. You can't
Mm.
give love if you don't have love for you. You don't have money, you can't give money. If you don't have time, you can't give time. So connect with yourself first, know yourself and discover yourself. It's so fascinating. Once you know who you are, really, you'll be amazed and you will fall in love with yourself,
Mm.
right? So please, it's not only blah, 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 self love. It's not about that. But that's life. You know why you are here.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Grace. For our listeners out there, they would love to get in contact with you. What's the best way for them to reach you, to connect with you? Where should they follow? Where should they go?
Yeah, so it's a simple. Everything is on my website. So www Grace Najean, my name, Grace Najean.com. So you can find about me, about my method, the Soulfluence method, about my retreat, 1st of November in Lombok, Indonesia. It's just next to Bali. It's an amazing place. And all my program, 777 Magic Program, and more. I do keynote speaking as well, so about my keynote speaking, and then yeah, so you can find me there.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, Grace. It has been an absolute pleasure. It has been a magical morning for me, afternoon, late afternoon for you. And I'm entirely looking forward to, again, more connection and more conversation, as I feel that this isn't our first and only, but a series of connections that we'll be able to grow and learn from one another. Ladies and gentlemen listening, this has been another episode of The Everyday Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Paul Howard Flowers Jr., and this is the Potpourri Place Podcast Show. A special thanks to our guest, Grace Najean, who is, again, just grateful enough to bless us with her presence and her insights throughout this episode. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, bye for now.